right, that's great. All right, Ollie. So we connected a bit last night, just so you could, a little mini consultation, if you like, just so you can get me up to speed on what's happening. So just for the sake of anybody watching this, just tell me what's happened. So you went to the GP, didn't you? Because all of a sudden,
yeah,
you kind of had this reflex, and you
essentially, yeah. The way I've sort of described it to people, it feels like a nervous tick. Sort of whenever I've been going to swallow things, or big things, should I say, it feels like I'm going to choke. And so I've had this briefly, ever so briefly in the past. And when I say briefly, it's like a 24-hour bug type thing. It's lasted 24 hours. It's gone away. Never really thought about it again. And it happened probably, excuse me, about, it's got to be at least 4 weeks ago now. And it just didn't pass this time. that's the easiest way I can describe it. It just hasn't passed this time. And as I say, I spoke to my GP. I'm not sure what I thought they would do, but but they basically wanted to send me to the hospital to make sure I didn't have throat cancer, which, I understand where they're coming from, but I didn't think that was particularly useful, if I'm honest. It's one of those things I thought I'll just try and sort myself, essentially. But as time has sort of gone by, it's become more and more of a thing.
And are you going to follow their advice and go for some tests?
No, if I'm honest, because I've had shined a light in my mouth. My partner's had a look at it, and there's nothing there. Do you know what I mean? And sort of knowing myself, how I do. Let's be honest, we all know ourselves. Touch wood, better than anyone really. And I know as much as I can do without any medical training that there's nothing physically wrong with me. Do you know what I mean? I say, I know you shouldn't do this, but when you Google stuff and have a look at other symptoms and stuff like that, I literally don't have any of the other things that they talk about. I think, according to, sort of reading, things online, I'd have problems swallowing liquid, for example, which I don't. I can drink perfectly fine, and I can eat fine. It just takes me a bit longer. And I say at this point, it's just got to the stage where it just feels more of a frustration than anything, and it's getting to the point now where I need to do something about it, because it's doing my own head in more than anything. Do you know what I mean? And it's I don't want to be spending half an hour trying to eat my dinner.
Okay, so we'll work on stuff today, see what comes up. But
sure,
my recommendation is to follow the advice of your GP, even if it's just for peace of mind. So that's my professional responsibility.
Yeah, for sure.
And you make your own personal choice based on that. So thanks for sharing that. So it's happened before then. So tell me about that. So that was a bug.
No. It's literally, when I say it's happened before, i.e., like years ago, I'd get like times where I'd be like, oh, I feel like I'm going to choke. And then like that would last for like a day at most. And then I'd just forget about it and it would just go. And that's maybe happened 2 or 3 times previously. So once it happened before, I was like, oh, bloody hell, I got this again. It'll, and then, I'll be honest, I didn't really think anything of it. I thought, oh, that'll just sort itself out like it normally does.
What's the pattern then? So if you could look back on your timeline and see it objectively, and we'll look at the possible emotional patterns here, stress-related stuff, what's going on in your life. Any pattern you see?
Nothing that would spring to mind immediately, if I'm honest. I mean, other than remembering them, I couldn't tell you anything else that was going on at that time specific to, trigger that, or, whatever you want to put it. But so I can't, there's no sort of specific, what's what I'm looking for, event or, situation or anything like that I specifically remember relating to that. It was just, there might have been, I can't say there is and I can't say there isn't, but I genuinely can't think of anything that sort of across the board,
so
is omnipresent, those things.
No stress that you can remember from the previous times it happened?
Nothing specific, no. Other than it coming and going like a 24-hour bug, essentially. That's the only way I can describe it. It sort of came and went very quickly.
How does it feel when it happens to you then?
It basically just feels like when I go to swallow something, it feels like something's going to get lodged in my throat, and then, as I say, almost panic sets in that I'm going to choke, and then I sort of have to either sort of like, almost bring it back up without sounding disgusting, or sort of, almost, when you do some people have to do it when they take tablets, like knock their head back a little bit or something to try and get it down, so to speak. And I say I just don't want to be doing that.
When you have to do that, what's the flashing panic that goes through your mind? Is it that I'm going to choke?
Yes.
Is it?
It's I'm going to choke, which means I won't be able to breathe. Essentially, yeah.
Okay. So it basically throws you right into survival, I guess. It's kind of like...
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, so you told
it's very irrational. It's like, because I suppose in my own mind I should know I'm not going to choke, because that's, I don't want to say it's silly because it's become a thing, but do you know what I mean? It's in my head. I tell myself afterwards, Oliver, you're not going to choke, mate. It's
okay,
but it's easier, but it's, as you say, it's an involuntary reaction.
Yeah.
And it just, it's easier to sort of look back at something after the fact and try and analyze it and do it that way. But it's easier said than done.
Yeah, I totally understand. It's okay to say after the event.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But at the time,
absolutely. Yeah.
You're gonna die ultimately. All right.
Yeah.
So you said you've got stress stuff going on in work, and we kind of briefly talked on that last night.
Yeah.
And you gave me a bit of a background. You're a mortgage advisor.
Yeah.
And over the last couple of months, is it?
I would say a couple of months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably since maybe, I'm trying to work a timeline now. Maybe August time-ish. Yeah, I'd probably say August time, because sort of when July, because it was July times when estate agents started to open back up a bit, and that, I expected a bit of a boom after that, because I had 3 months worth or 4 months, however long we were locked down for in the first time, of a backlog of people who were looking to buy houses who could now go and buy houses, essentially. So I expected that. But then volume of inquiries just increased, and then sort of issues with mortgage lenders got more difficult, of them changing their criteria almost on a whim. And everybody's circumstances have been affected by this sort of thing. So taking on more debt, or some people getting furloughed, and the sort of all the sort of knock-on effects that go with that. And I say it was just becoming increasingly more and more difficult to try and place business. And to give you some other context as well, I work for myself as well. So if I don't get those things through, I don't get paid at the end of the month. It doesn't correlate exactly like that, but that's the mentality behind it.
Yeah. So what's all that brought up for you, this situation?
Oh, just a lot of stress, to be honest, and sort of working probably longer hours than I would like to as well, just to try and get things through. Because my mentality with it is, if I've spent a certain amount of time doing something, I don't want to just chuck that away, so to speak. I want to sort of make that time worth something, if that makes sense. It's sort of, because if you've invested a certain amount of time with a customer or with a situation, I want to see that through to, to completion, for example, because I say if they're not going to do it through me, they'll do it through someone else, so to speak. And I don't particularly want to, do a lot of legwork for someone, for then someone else to gain the rewards, essentially.
So if you could name the most dominant emotion, what would it be?
What, during that period?
Yeah.
It was, well, I wouldn't say stress is an emotion, but that's a good one. I suppose I was anxious a bit through it. That's probably the biggest one. Anxious, sort of, because of not knowing what was going to be happening, in the sort of the short term and the medium term with work and stuff like that.
Anxiety is the end result of a catalyst that comes first. A
Right.
catalyst is a thought, an emotion, and then you've got the feeling of anxiety where your body goes into, a bit of fight or flight. So
Right.
what's the first thing before the anxiety? What triggers the anxiety?
So,
what thought and what emotion?
Can you say that bit firstly a bit? Sorry, Anne-Marie, you cracked up a little bit there. Sorry.
Worries. What thought precedes the anxiety?
I suppose on a deeper level that I suppose it would be I'm not good enough, maybe, and I can't do this, maybe. That's the initial thing that comes to it, I suppose. And then I think to myself, again, looking at it on a cold light today, I then start to think to myself, well, I've been doing this job a long, long time, and if I can't do it, I'm pretty sure no one else can as well. But in that immediate point,
let's stay with the emotions, Ollie. Okay, let's not.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to drop out the head. We're going to drop
Okay.
any rationale, drop any sense of identity that you've created for yourself. Because I'll be honest with you, I think this is what is really going on. It's your identity that's being completely wobbled here.
Right.
And I'll share with you, because what we want to get into is the emotional state, because anxiety and any physical reflex pain, if it's undiagnosed, now I didn't know about your doctor's recommendation
No.
last night, and after hearing that, I'd strongly urge you to go and follow the advice of the GP.
Yeah.
If we're going to work on helping you anyway feel more emotionally balanced, it's the emotions, the core that we tell ourselves that gets us into this state. And it's subconscious stuff, it's not conscious stuff. Because consciously we go, look at the facts, I'm good at my job, I've been doing it for so long. But it's the subconscious core beliefs that lie dormant within us all, or non-dormant. It's just waiting for an external event to trigger the fear-based beliefs that we have about ourselves. So, as I said to you last night, I work multifaceted. I can either coach you, but I think we need to coach, but we also need to look at your energy as well. So I'm a spiritual coach. I work intuitively. I work with my intuitive senses and guides, and I use divination tools such as cards to try and see a path of what's going on. So if I give anything to you, it's my interpretation of what I've seen in my mind's eye or felt, and it might not be 100%. So you need to kind of work with it and help me out there a little bit. If it doesn't make any sense at all, if it doesn't land with you and you're like, no, that's not me, then tell me.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, sure.
So before we started the session, and last night, to be fair, when we got off the call, I pulled an archetype card, and for some reason it actually disappeared into thin air. So I wanted to show it. But I was like sitting with the card thinking, and I couldn't make sense of it. And then it landed later on. And it's something about you feeling like you need to know all the answers. And because you don't know all the answers right now, you're feeling powerless. That was what the card.
That's fair. Yeah. That's
how
I sort of like to know. I'm the type of person I like to know how things work.
Yeah. So let me just tell you what else happened today before I started the session. I connect to my guides and I ask for information for you. And I see whatever I see. And I saw you as a child. And what came through to me, and I wrote it down, you're the type of person who likes to have all the answers.
Yeah.
You always want to know what to say. You're out of your comfort zone as you feel your sense of control is slipping. You're starting to question yourself. You feel like a vulnerable boy again. You feel vulnerable in the situation that you're in. You're not sure who to turn to for the answers that you feel you need. You're always the joker. you're the comedian. People would say in the group, go and talk to Olly. He'll know what to do. He'll know what to say. And that's become your identity.
Yeah, that's not a million miles away, wouldn't have said.
You started to criticise yourself and form an inner critic. You've had enough of it. You feel like you're losing control and you don't know on what and how to say. Something you feel like you're losing your control on your identity and what you're saying and how to say it and I can't actually quite articulate what it is that I'm picking up on. I found that last bit difficult and it might become clear, but does that resonate with you so far?
Oh yeah. I mean, although on the jokes part, some people might say my jokes are dad jokes, but that's by and by. But generally speaking, yeah. I mean, in our friends group, I was always described as the responsible one by my mate's ex-wife, bless her. So I just remember being in charge of the wedding rings on that day. So that's where that one comes in. But yeah, I'd say those things are pretty accurate. And when you talk about being you didn't say fed up, that's my word. But it's, basically had enough, and that's it with this situation I'm in now. I have had enough. I said at the dinner table last night, I just said, I'm fed up of this. I just said, I've had enough of this now. I just need to do something about it. And it's because I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And normally, in most situations, generally speaking, I'm quite a rationally thinking person. I can logically think about stuff and sort of work it out, but I can't work this out, which is why I need to give up the control.
Is that the first time you've actually said that?
What, out loud, that I'm fed up of it? Yes. Yeah. I said it last night at the dinner table. I just put my foot down and said, I've had enough of this. So I'm just fed up of it now.
That's really powerful. How did it make you feel to say and own it?
It felt good actually, because I was just like, you know what? Forget this. I want to do something about it now. I was like, that was my sort of jumping off point, or my tipping point, whatever you want to call it. I was like, right, I'm doing something now. I need to actively, because I'm generally speaking, I'm quite a relaxed person most of the time. I've sort of like, things will work, have the attitude of things work how they're supposed to work, almost, so to speak. And just think, if you just do what you're doing, then things will work out essentially, but it's got to and that's the attitude I had with this at the start. I was like, it'll sort itself out. It always does. But now it got to the point where I was like, you know what? I need help now. And I'm not the type of person who ever asks for help.
Amazing. That's so good. That's amazing to hear you say and take control in this way and allow yourself to be vulnerable and not I know all the answers, Olly, anymore.
Yeah.
So what is it that you've had enough
of? Enough of just feeling, I suppose, feeling powerless almost, or feeling out of control, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So this is brilliant, because you're actually taking control by owning what's going on for you emotionally. Anytime you suppress anything, it hides in the body. Like before we came and did this session, the horrible pain in my neck and my back, and I did some energy work on clearing it, and the emotions that came up for me were around discouragement and not being valued and freedom and just the weird things, like not but they're there in my body telling me you're holding on to this, you're holding on. And for you, energetically, I feel that the suppression is there because it's like I can't allow myself to be seen as the person who doesn't know all the answers.
Well, I've always thought of myself, and this could be wrong, this is not maybe how other people see me, but I've always thought of myself as sort of, whatever this means these days, like an archetypal bloke, almost. And that, I need to be strong, and I need to be this, I need to be that, don't show weakness, all that sort of stuff. But that is okay, but that's just generally not how I've been. Yeah. It's all, be the strong one, almost.
So what is, so sound weird, but what word, what sound, what is it in your throat? If you could get rid of it, it could be a sound, it could be a weird noise. What is it that's there right now that you can release?
Um,
What does your throat want to do?
it just wants to be cleared. It just feels like it needs to expel almost, I suppose, because maybe it feels like there's some kind of blockage there, and that's where I can't get stuff through there to the sort of the next step. But I say, then when I open up, I'm not going to lie, I've got my phone light out and I'd look in my mouth in the mirror and be like, there's nothing there. Yeah, and so therefore that's when, going back to the sort of the control and not having the answers, that's been frustrating because I don't have the answers, and then sort of, as someone who likes to think that they do know it, well, I don't like to think, no, I don't know it all. That's completely wrong. But as someone who likes to think he has a good grasp of what's going on, that's a better way of putting it. It's been frustrating of not knowing. That's the biggest part of the not knowing bit.
So how does it feel to say out loud, I don't know, I don't have all...
It feels quite calming, to be honest, and sort of almost like I think after we spoke yesterday, I just sort of like I did a big exhale afterwards, like, and I was like, that feels a bit better. Do you know what I mean? That just feels like almost a weight taken off my shoulders, so to speak, of sharing the problem almost. So I've been speaking to my partner about it, but we haven't been able to come up with anything, so to speak, because it's just been a case of, well, has this happened before? Yeah. What did you do to it before? Nothing. It just kind of went away. So.
If I was to say to you, and again, you don't have to do this now if it feels a bit too intense, but what I'm feeling is that your physical body wants to expel what's inside that's causing the block. So what we are working with, because you want it to be clear. So something has suppressed this blockage, let's just say.
Yeah.
There wasn't a clear energy outlet, and that can be because you've suppressed it for so long.
Yeah.
Owning what you really want to say. You can do it now if it feels natural, or you can do it later and just tell me what happened. But I just feel that your body just wants to go.
Well, actually, because I do yoga as well, and one of the things my yogi said, this is going back a couple of months ago now, and she was like saying, this was just before the seasons were changing, and she was sort of saying, we've all got this sort of, we're going to see some energy changes in ourselves, and she says one of the things that she likes to do is, or that she does, is every so often go and sit in the car and just scream. And I'll be honest, just because I've been working with her for like 6-7 years now, I just couldn't picture her doing this because she's quite, I don't want to say mild-mannered, but you know what I mean? She's a very calming person. I couldn't even imagine her raising her voice, let alone screaming, so to speak. And, I did do that afterwards, like, and it felt all right. I don't have a car at the minute, to be honest, but that's another story for another time. But, that is potentially something to have a go at some time, yeah. I won't do it at the minute because the kids will come running in and wondering what's going on. But yeah.
You don't have to do it now, but it can clear the energy flow. And you might, I would say, give yourself permission to release whatever's there. And it could be it could be something like that.
Well, I've been able to go to the football in quite a while as well, so there's that release that hasn't been able to happen any time recently. So yeah. All joking aside, I mean, that might be part of it as well. Thinking about it, if I can't release that energy, I used to like to go to the football, to go to concerts, and all that sort of stuff. And we are all kind of just sat at home a lot at the minute. So yeah, maybe there is that.
Find a way to, like you say, your body, tune into it, and just allow your body to be free. Loosen it up. If you have to go into work, hi, it's all, when really deep down you're suppressing a lot, and it's all about communication with you, isn't it? Because you're speaking to these clients that potentially you're having to deliver bad news with. I pulled some other cards as well because I just wanted to see what was going on, and I work with these. They're just picture cards. I'll show you one. So that was just this one. that I picked.
Okay.
So I'll send you a picture of these. There was
Please.
7 cards that I picked, but the story it tells me, you had a happy childhood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You, when you were growing up, you felt like you could do anything that you wanted to do. Like the world was your oyster type of thing.
Yeah.
This is an interesting card. So I'm either thinking you started partying and maybe that led to a bit of self-destruct, or you just were a normal kid but you were quite, you know, you liked to party, you're quite cool, you had lots of friends.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone with that fashion choice myself, but yeah, I say in my 20s I did like to go out. Yeah.
Yeah. Did that lead to any self-destructive behaviour or not?
Not particularly. No, I say I like to go out and have a drink on a Saturday,
Yeah.
sometimes on a Friday as well. I couldn't do that now, but
You just had, you've got a lot of friends, and maybe you're respected in that circle, you know, like, and maybe this is how you started to form that identity. But then it was like, okay, so what's gone on from there? And I think maybe the rest of the pictures are quite interesting, and what it kind of showed me was like possibly how you feel now.
okay.
So there's a young boy like driving a big truck trying to get away from a war zone. But this is your, you know, this is how you usually are.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Yeah.
And then there was some like problem solving cards, like this guy who wants to fix it for people. You know,
Yeah.
don't worry, Ollie will turn up. He'll fix
That's what I say. Well, as I said to you in yesterday, I always tell you know, in my professional career, I always tell people I'm in the solutions business. I'm not in the problems business. You know, so.
And this is what I feel is the root cause of it. Now it's up to you to tell me what you think about this card.
So it's someone getting on their soapbox and dictating almost, I suppose. Looks a bit like the PM, to be honest, but
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I suppose it's someone shouting down the little people almost. Yeah, and as saying as someone who works themselves, I've never been a fan of that, to be honest, and I'm quite lucky. Yeah. Oh, they're in fear of him, aren't they?
Fear of the news he's delivering.
Yeah. Ah, right. Okay. Oh, of course. Yeah. Sorry, I see. Yeah.
And that's
that's the opposite of what I want to be.
That's the opposite of.
Yeah, I want to be that other card. Yeah.
The superhero.
Superman or the fix it guy.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, but is that how you're seeing yourself at all at the minute, this guy?
No. I wouldn't say I'm definitely not that far of feeling like that guy. Definitely not. I say it's more so. So yeah, probably more so the fix-it guy than the superhero, so to speak. Superhero was maybe the first half of the year, and then now it's more almost sort of the fix-it guy. You know the guy who puts like I saw this advert online, and it was like this miracle tape, and it was like a leaking water fountain or something like, and the bloke just sticks the tape on it, and it just stops it for the moment. And that's how I feel professionally at the minute, in the case of, you know, putting stop gaps in and just basically getting stuff over the line, as it were, as opposed to being Superman and lifting up the building and making it look easy.
Yeah. So that card then, how is this playing out then? That's quite interesting. There's a guy delivering some horrible news. He's quite intimidating. People are scared of him. Have you had to deliver bad news on that level where it's?
I've had to deliver bad news and sort of say to people, you can't buy that house, or you can't borrow that extra money, or this, that, and the other, and that and that's not nice. And a lot of the time, it's not my fault, and that's probably the hardest thing, of sort of taking the emotion out of an emotional situation, almost, because, as I say, for the most part, it's either, well, you don't earn enough, or you don't have a big enough deposit, or they've got their credit in such a poor situation that nobody wants to know at the moment, because that's the other thing as well. In fact, actually, that's going back to that other card. That's just something that's made me think, and this is some way I've been describing myself, the fix-it guy. The way I've been describing myself professionally recently is that I've been saying I feel like a workman who doesn't have all his tools, because I don't have all the options available to me at the minute, and that sort of has felt like a bit of a weight on my back, so to speak. But then at the same time, I have to say, well, everyone's in that same boat.
This isn't the root cause of it, Ollie. That's the root cause of it.
Right. Don't sort of see myself as the bad guy, basically.
You're delivering that shitty news that's destroying people in a way, and potentially. You having to be that person. You are okay being this person, because you're still getting recognition for that.
Yeah.
But this person.
Yeah, I don't like that guy. No.
So tell me about what that does to you when you have to do that.
Well, as a sort of, because I don't like doing that, what I always like to do with people is sort of say, going back to my solutions thing, I always like to say to people, well, you can't have this, but this is the other option. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes there isn't another option. So therefore, at that time, I feel quite helpless, I suppose, because I can't do anything for these people. Do you know what I mean? It's I suppose it's a bit demoralising as well. And the problem is, I want to help everyone. That's because I like helping people, and I like making people. When I get when I'm finished doing what I'm doing with people, and we get a review, I get some quite nice reviews, and they're quite uplifting. You know what I mean? And they make me feel good about myself and what I do, and that what I do matters. Do you know what I mean? And I like to feel that what I do matters.
Having to be this person.
Oh yeah, don't like being that guy.
What about yourself?
It just makes me feel like a bad person. Well, not bad. No, that's right. Not right. It does make me feel like a bad person.
Don't rationalise it. Don't rationalise it.
No. I just feel sad, I suppose.
How does it make you feel about yourself?
I suppose like almost not like a failure. That's too far the other way.
It's not, because you're rationalising things.
Yeah.
Because you're coming up with these emotions, and you're like, oh, hang on, I've heard myself say that. No, I'm not that. No, I'm not that. That's too far down the scale.
Yeah. I do feel, like a failure. I suppose that's probably the easiest way to describe it. Yeah.
Of course. I totally understand that. You're having to deliver this news to people. It must be freaking horrendous to be that person.
Oh, it is, yeah.
That news.
I mean, a lot of the times they can see it coming because of the aforementioned reasons, but still, yeah, it's not nice. It's not nice. It's the worst part of my job. And to be fair, for the rest of the parts of it, I generally do enjoy what I do for the most part. It's like any job; it has its bad days and whatever.
The problem that we're working towards is the root cause of what possibly is going on for you after the medical stuff and working along.
Yeah.
The root cause of what's going on for you is this bit, and the story you have around the person that you are.
Right.
Because it totally goes against the identity you have formed for yourself.
Okay.
What would you name this card, by the way? If you had to give him a name that sums up how that makes you feel about yourself, what name would you give it?
As in the name of a person or of a type of emotion?
Whatever comes to you. If you were just to give this a name, so we knew, if I said that name, you'd know what we were talking about.
I just see him as a dictator. Mm-hmm. That's the one that sort of comes to mind to me. He's a dictator, because he's sort of there with look, it's like he's got that clipboard with his, his rules on, and it's my way or the highway.
Yeah. So, and what would you call this chap?
The superhero.
Yeah, the superhero.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So the dictator is the complete opposite to the superhero.
Yeah.
And it's the dictator. Well, it's the superhero's story and the dictator's story that we kind of want to work with. Because there's also an identity that you formed around being the superhero. And when obviously that gets wobbled, then a cascade of thoughts and beliefs come in, because when you're not being the superhero, you'll tell yourself a story around that as well. There's a set of limiting beliefs around everything, because we can't live in one energy all of the time. It's not the true self, really.
Yeah.
And there's a story around the dictator as well, which is, you're a failure, you feel helpless, all of that thing. But what does the superhero tell himself when he's like on full form, getting mortgages for everybody and life's brilliant?
He's the best.
He's the best.
He's the best at what he does, and there's nobody who could do a better job than that.
So how does the superhero feel at being a failure?
Well, he don't like that at all. It's chipping away at his. It's almost like tugging on his cape, for want of a better term, or sort of chipping away at his armour. That's the term I'm looking for. It's sort of like, almost, I suppose in a sense, it's sort of showing that he is human, to a certain extent, or that he's not perfect, which no one is, and
No. Reframe that. Reframe that. Sorry, say that again.
Nobody's perfect.
No, not we.
Oh, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'll be the first to admit that.
Really?
Usually. I have my flaws as well, just like everybody. It's just I don't like to admit them.
To be able to say, I'm human. I'm not perfect.
Yeah, I'm human. I'm not perfect. No, it's something I know, but it's something I should probably tell myself more often.
Tell yourself or allow yourself to feel.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, I need to allow myself to feel then, because I'm more of a talky person than a feel person.
Because we can talk ourselves, we can tell ourselves stuff, but unless we feel it, the body's not going to do what we want it to do.
Well, it's something. I suppose it's the not parasuggestion. That's maybe. But something I used to tell myself when I used to play football, for example. Before I'd go out and play football, I'd tell myself how good I was. Do you know what I mean? And that, like,
But did you believe it?
Oh yeah, at the time, yeah, at the time, yeah, because you have to, because it's like anything. If you don't believe, like for me, if you don't believe you're the best at what you're doing, you might as well not bother.
See then how, because your brain tells your body what to do, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
So is the superhero telling the dictator to shut up and stop speaking? Like, how can you make connect the dots with the throat thing at the minute?
Oh, it's communication and talking, and it's I say it's essentially what the superhero is going to do is he needs to fly in there, take that megaphone or whatever it is away from the bloke and sort of block him from spouting his garbage.
Well, the superhero is trying to do that, and actually that's possibly what's getting in the way.
Oh, okay.
Can you see what I mean by that?
Yeah. I'm getting in my own way, essentially.
Because you're not probably speaking your truth or allowing yourself to, well, you are now, because you just said you started to do it from last night, but because you possibly were suppressing the real you, who goes, you know what, I haven't got my shit together in this situation because it's new and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm not perfect. I'm sorry, I've got to deliver you this news, but that's just the way it is. The superhero is trying so hard to maintain his identity.
Right.
because his feeling is this dictator energy is starting to take over that you do not like and you do not want to be seen as. So the superhero is like constricting you by the throat. So it's because of the news that you have to deliver, which is the absolute crux of what's the worst bit about this situation right now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what does this card mean to you?
It's content and homely.
Yeah.
And safe.
If you were to do more of that, what would that look like in your life?
What, for me personally?
Mm-hmm.
Shutting off from, just turning my brain off a little bit, I suppose, and sort of, I suppose from an actual point of view, it would be, watching a bit of telly or something, or things like that, or just tatting on my tablet or something like that, and just sort of being me, the person, as opposed to me, the mortgage advisor, because they are two different people. And I suppose that's where your superhero thing comes in as well. It's the sort of the cape that I put on, metaphorically speaking, in the morning.
Of course. What would it look like to be more of your true self, which could be this person? What would it look like to be more of your true self in the work situation?
Oh, in the work situation, it would just be, I suppose it would just be telling myself, everything's okay, you're not perfect, and just dealing with things as they happen, and just go with it, as opposed to just trying to control everything, because there's certain things that I can't control, and I need to be okay with that, and that's the best way to describe it. I say just letting go of the control as well, and be able to sort of say I can't do everything, which I can't. There's only so many hours in the day.
Do you want to see what that's going to look like?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So when are you back in work?
Monday.
Okay. So let's do a little visualization. Let's just see what's going to go on when you get into work. Let me just read this card. I'm just trying to interpret something. Okay. Do you have any stuff coming up next week that you've got to deal with that you might not enjoy?
Nothing that springs to mind. No.
Okay.
Touch wood. Or nothing I'm aware of yet, anyway.
Okay. So I've picked this card. I'm just trying to get my head around it. It's the visionary card. Okay. So capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain.
So selflessness.
It's kind of like, what that says to me is somebody that wants to find solutions, wants to, but doesn't necessarily have all the avenues to make that happen. It's a person who has the capacity to come up with ideas, come up with solutions. And that's, I think that is what you like to do.
Yeah, very much so.
But then there's also a part of you to keep that, to keep hold of that gift that you've got, but also to bring in a good dose of realism. The true self, rather than this false self.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just, try and stop putting up so much of a front almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And sort of, yeah. I get you.
just sit with that for a minute. Just see what that looks like.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. It's maybe not creating so much for persona, I suppose, and just relaxing more with it, and sort of. I think one of the things that I'm always keen to do is, if I've got something, whether it's been an OCD thing or whatever, I like to just get rid of it and get it done as ASAP, basically, because I don't like things hanging around. I'm not like the type. I mean, maybe in my personal life I am, but not in my professional life. If something comes up, I like to get it done and moved on to the next thing ASAP.
Yeah, I get that. But when we think about what you've just said then about this terms of the throat thing, and is that how you're viewing this? I just want to deal with it and get rid of it. Just curious.
Yeah. Pretty much, it's a problem that needs a solution.
Yeah. So it's like, right, as we get rid of this now. So what this is saying is, it's presenting to you because you have a chance to really rejig your whole persona.
Right.
Your whole persona, from being this projected version of yourself, this superhero guy, who that's not sustainable long term.
No.
Shit happens. And the
Yeah.
superhero has one agenda: to be the superhero, and it's not always possible to fantasy. So how does it look? Give me a name that springs to mind that sums up. In fact, what we're going to do a little couple of seconds visualization just to help you see it in your imagination. We're using our imagination. So if it feels all right for you, Olly, just close your eyes, just because sometimes you can visualize a lot better that way. And I'll do it with you. So just closing your eyes, just taking some breaths, just relaxing into this moment. Just see it as something fun to do. And we're going to use your imagination. And I just want you to take your imagination out into the future, into next week, or the week after, or the week after that. And I just want you to see yourself just showing up in your environment, just totally being yourself, being your best self. Dealing with people, delivering good news, delivering bad news. And feeling okay. Able to handle any situation. And the reason you're able to handle any situation is because you know who you are. You're clear with people about who you are and what your capabilities are. Nobody expects you to form miracles that you just cannot do. You don't give off the air of an ambiguous person that can form these miracles for people when it's not possible. And you don't fear delivering news because you've done your best. So I just want you to see yourself in that situation. Notice how you look. Notice your physical body. How does it look? Is it empowered? Just notice your emotions and your thoughts. And just notice how connected you really truly feel in this moment, knowing yourself and showing your true self to people and all your best qualities that are with that too. And just give this person, this future you, a name that totally sums up how you feel and who you are. And if you have a name, just tell me what that is.
Happy.
Happy. Good. And just ask this version of you, happy. Just notice that happy is allowed an array of emotions. Doesn't just always need to be happy. He knows how he feels and he owns how he feels. He's able to communicate with himself and others about the reality of situations. There's no hiding, there's no suppression, there's no falseness, no illusion anymore. He's happy because he's himself. So just ask this version of yourself that you're about to step into, just ask for one piece of advice or one word or a symbol, a colour, anything that helps you align fully now to this future you. Okay, Ollie, so when you're ready, just take a nice deep breath and just come back to this space. Well done. How was that for you?
That was good. I say the guy was sort of smiling. He was sort of, stood up straight, smiling. As I say, just ready to take on, bat away anything negative and just deal with things as they come in.
Did it feel good?
And so the one thing he was telling me is relax.
Relax. This
just
card.
relax.
Yeah.
Just relax.
Just relax.
Yeah, relax. Yeah.
Good. All right.
Relax, and it'll just flow and muscle memory and all that. And yeah.
Allow yourself to flow.
Yeah.
If you feel after this session you just want to go and be crazy with your voice and your vibration, because vibration shifts energy, just go and please, I just really want you to go and just see what comes out of you from the pit of your stomach. So we'll leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed the session.
It's been very useful, thank you. Yeah.
I'll hook up with you again.
Sounds good.
All right, just take care and I'll speak to you soon.
Sounds good. All the best. Thanks for your time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.